don't know if you can see that, but this is the moving part of the thermostat. So this spring softens up when it gets hot, allows that to push back, and this mating surface here has got a little rubber gasket on it. And first of all, the rubber gasket is very flat, but then it's also got little shards of rubber coming off it. So it basically got to the point where it's been squashed a billion times over nearly 20 years of use and was no longer sealing. So there you go. You can see it has moved. Those scrapes up the side where this body gets pushed back against here. So anyway, that's good. We'll see what's going on inside there. So this is where we took that from. All looking normal. We'll just give the gasket face a wipe. Make sure it's not got any crud on it that's going to get trapped behind the gasket. And then we can put the whole thing back together again. I tend to use a fingertip when I'm doing this. It might sound a bit daft to you, but when I'm checking to see if that gasket face is clean, if I just wiped it around with a rag, then all I know is I've wiped some muck off it, but I might have wiped some muck onto it as well. If I run my finger around that gasket face, I can feel if it's clean. So I might have filthy hands, but I know that that's clean. Okay. So that can go back together again. So the first thing we do, well, assembly, is the reverse of disassembly. I could say to you, just rewind what you're saying. You might ask why I'm putting copper slip on the inside of that, and the answer is it just makes it a bit easier to slide that onto there. And so it isn't here. You may not know this, but I'm best part of 60 years old. I will be in about 10 weeks, and I've been spannering for 45 years. I started on cars anyway. I was about 15 when I started working on my first cars, and some of the tools I'm using today are the same tools I bought back then. That snap-on 3/8 ratchet I bought when I was working in the first garage I worked in 42 years ago. They are ridiculously expensive snap-on tools, but you can argue if you're still using it 45 years on, it's worth every penny. Now these components like this thermostat housing, you've got plastic components into a metal block. They've got metal sleeves in the plastic housing so you can't crush the plastic, and they've got a rubber gasket. So there's probably a correct tightening torque for these, and if I was a pedantic fucker I would go and look it up, but I'm not. So what I do is I go around them all and tighten them all so that they're probably a bit tighter than I could do with my fingers, and then I'll go around again and feel the resistance of it bottoming out on the metal spacers, which are designed to set the gap for the rubber gasket. And then I'll go around a third time and just give them a little tweak just to make sure I'm happy that they've tightened up properly. And why do I do that? Because the only torque wrench I've got is a 1/2 inch drive one. It's about this long, and it's ridiculous to try and do up little tiny bolts with a 1/2 inch drive torque wrench. It's 2 foot long. Right, so the last part of doing this is to put this clip back, which goes like that, and then make sure that that has a clip. So I can move it here, but I can't pull it back. So make sure it doesn't move and put that bolt back in. And if everything's gone back where it should do, that lines up perfectly. That's another tool I bought 40 years ago. Snap-on sockets. Snap-on 1/4 inch drive sockets, so it's big ones. 40 odd years old, still using it. Right, so there's that bit done. Now, remember we took some hoses. Yeah. Okay, my love. Are you taking Jack? Yeah. Okay. That's the wife. Going down the shop, taking the dog. Lucky dog. I wonder if she'll bring anything back for me. Yeah, we took some hoses. So there's the old thermostat housing. This is the bottom radiator hose. This is actually in a pretty awful condition. Actually, it's got a nick in it there, which doesn't look like it's gone through, but it's pretty dire, isn't it? I don't know what that's been rubbing on, but anyway, I'm not going to worry about what that might have been rubbing on. Oh, in fact, I can see what it is. A bracket on the back of on the side of the aircon pump. Anyway, we're going to use this one again. I'll probably replace it. I'd really like to find some better blanks for these, or a replacement pipe for this part, because we don't need that spigot anymore. And what we have to do at the moment is put a piece of pipe on it, put a plug in it, and block it off. That's just a pain in the arse. So I'd really like to find a way of dealing with that better. But at the moment I don't have a way of dealing with that better, so we're not going to do that. We're going to undo that. Big old clip there. Give us a wriggle. I said to you about how sometimes these O-rings get really like swollen and horrible. And look at that one. You see, as I've unplugged it, it's got all displaced. It's no longer sitting in its nice groove, and this is loose, not where it should be. So what we're going to do is carefully take that out. I'm going to take that out, and yeah, when you squish this, I think what's happened is this has had oil. These are designed for water, and you can see that this fitting has had a lot of oil on it over the years, and that oil has seeped down and soaked into that, and it's swollen. Thankfully we have a fix for that. This here box, in fact this isn't actually the box I wanted, but never mind, this will do. So in this box we have lots of rubber O-rings, and what we're going to do is grab this and find the O-ring that just drops in there nicely and sits against the back face without getting distorted. There you go, so I've just dropped one in there, you can see that, and now I can slide this piece back in, which shouldn't come out, but you know, as I say, it's worth checking when you do these, because they often do come out at this stage. I need to push that back, put the lid back on this before it falls off and ends up with 500 O-rings. I've lost a screwdriver. If you're watching this video and you know where I put it, you can tell me it's a smaller one of those. Fittings are absolutely saturated in oil. And all the parts are swollen up because of it. I have to go through my spares bin and see if I can find another hose. Doing is trying to this ring here